Morgan Wallen's latest appearance on Saturday Night Live was supposed to be a triumphant return for the country music superstar. Instead, it ended with one of the most bizarre stage exits the show has seen in years. Nobody expected him to say a quick thanks to the host, wave goodbye, and then make a sharp turn away from the camera. That abrupt moment, followed by an Instagram story captioned, "Get me to God's country," left viewers and fans scrambling for answers. Did he have a terrible time? Was there behind-the-scenes drama brewing? Or was it just Morgan being his unpredictable self? People started wondering if this was more evidence that Morgan Wallen is one of the most polarizing figures in modern country music. Some believed it was a snub at SNL. Others chalked it up to him simply wanting to leave as fast as possible. But no matter how you slice it, Morgan's swift exit spoke volumes. It was a reminder that he isn't afraid to shake things up, even on one of TV's biggest stages. Yet this isn't the first time his name has been tied to controversy. In fact, the tension between Morgan and SNL goes back a few years, and that's just one part of this country bad boy's story. Before he ever made headlines for backstage friction and questionable decisions, Morgan Wallen was simply a small-town dreamer with a voice that stood out. Hailing from Tennessee, he grew up on a steady diet of old-school country, gospel, and even classic rock. A few viral performances put him on the industry's radar, and it didn't take long for record labels to come calling. His raw, distinctive sound resonated with fans. It was country music with a bit of an edge, laced with playful twang and rebellious flair. Not only did he drop songs that climbed the charts, but he also developed a dedicated following that stuck with him even when critics and country radio stations weren't fully on board. He represented a new wave of country artists who weren't afraid to blend tradition with modern themes. That boldness and authenticity earned him praise from major names in the business. Soon he was poised to go mainstream, but along with fame came situations that tested his ability to handle the spotlight. In the hectic swirl of a televised sketch comedy show, goodbyes are usually routine. Performers gather, the host says a final thank you, and the cast waves as the camera cuts out. This time though, it felt far from normal. He offered a quick nod to the host, then strolled right past the camera and off the stage, leaving the rest of the cast shuffling in that trademark end-of-show cluster. The cameras still rolled, capturing confused expressions from both longtime regulars and first-time guest stars. In an instant, social media lit up with memes, reaction posts, and short clips that looped the strange sign-off on repeat. Speculation exploded on social media. Some fans were convinced the hurried walk-off meant he clashed with the cast or show writers behind closed doors. Others believed he was simply tired and ready to bounce. And then came the Instagram story, "Get me to God's country," he wrote, showcasing his private jet. Many took that as a thinly veiled dig at the city's hustle or the show itself. Although sources close to Morgan claim he meant no disrespect, the post only fueled the rumor mill. For better or worse, it highlighted his impulsive nature. He does what he wants, consequences be darned. Of course, this isn't Morgan's first rocky encounter with Saturday Night Live. Back in 2020, he was slated to appear as the musical guest, but lost the spot after breaking SNL's health guidelines at the time. Instead of battling it out publicly, he apologized, admitting that he'd made a mistake and had a lot of growing up to do. Some viewers forgave and forgot, others saw him as a risky choice for a high-profile show. Eventually, he managed to earn a second shot, proving he could be a team player. But the question lingered. Would he avoid controversy the next time around? That moment seemed like a wake-up call. Many fans said the near ban might push Morgan to be more cautious with his public image. Yet here we are again, dissecting his behavior on the very same stage. Old wounds reopened, and the internet was quick to remember how his rebellious streak got him benched the first time. It didn't help that SNL veterans like Kenan Thompson seemed just as puzzled by Morgan's abrupt exit as the viewers at home. When it comes to Morgan Wallen, controversies seem to follow him like a shadow. One of the most talked about incidents involved footage that allegedly showed him throwing a chair off the roof of a Nashville bar owned by fellow country star Eric Church. Reports surfaced that he faced legal consequences, leading to a probation period and an educational program. Critics labeled him a loose cannon. Defenders praised him for taking responsibility and serving his sentence without making excuses. Either way, the story only added fuel to the narrative that Morgan loves to live on the edge. And then there was the explosive explosive moment caught on camera in 2021. He was filmed using a highly offensive term, which set social media ablaze. Outrage grew, and many questioned whether his career could bounce back from such a heavy blow. Radio stations pulled his songs, and industry professionals distanced themselves. To his credit, Morgan responded with a public apology, acknowledging he'd messed up. The backlash was enormous, but something surprising happened next. His record sales soared. Fans rushed to support him, citing freedom of speech and second chances. That support showcased just how deep his influence ran. After weathering so many storms, you'd think Morgan's career would suffer. Instead, it thrived. Venues kept selling out and his chart positions rose higher. It was clear his fan base wasn't going anywhere. Controversies or not, country radio began slowly welcoming him back, and music publications took note of his undeniable streaming power. Right around that time, he bagged the title of Country Music Association's Entertainer of the Year, which raised eyebrows among some who questioned whether he deserved the honor. Yet the award only broadened his reach, with supporters praising the CMA for acknowledging his talent. Now, with a brand new album slated for release in May, the buzz around Morgan Wallen has never been louder. Industry insiders predict it might be one of 2025's biggest sellers, further cementing his place among the top country acts of this generation. Regardless of how many headlines he grabs for the wrong reasons, his name seems to hold weight that few can ignore. Every misstep somehow morphs into a platform for him to speak out, apologize, or simply carry on his merry way. And so far, that approach has kept him at the center of attention. Morgan's fans argue that his personal struggles and rebellious antics are part of what make him so relatable. He's not perfectly polished. He's raw, flawed, and prone to slip-ups. That authenticity endears him to a legion of die-hard supporters who feel he speaks for them, flaws and all. At the same time, critics say it's time to hold him accountable for recurring controversies. They claim that constant apologies followed by more questionable behavior can only go so far. Still, the hype machine around him shows no signs of stopping. Each new incident draws more clicks, more debate, and ultimately more attention to his music. When you look at Morgan Wallen's journey, from small-town singer to chart-topping phenomenon, it's impossible to ignore the role that controversy has played in his rise. He's been tested time and time again, from SNL debacles to legal woes to public scandals that might have destroyed someone less determined. Somehow, he always pulls through. Maybe he's just that talented. Maybe fans have a higher threshold for drama than critics realize. Either way, his story isn't over. Morgan Wallen's Saturday Night Live walk-off may be the latest chapter in his ever-growing tale, but it surely won't be the last. Every time he steps onto a stage or posts on social media, it sparks debate about whether he'll behave or stir up the next scandal. And for a man who's never shied away from big risks, that's part of his allure. Despite the storm of controversies, he continues to climb the charts, sell out shows, and dominate award seasons. It's fair to say he's redefined what it means to be a modern country star, flaws, feuds, and all. His new album, set to drop in just a few months, promises yet another round of headline-grabbing hits. The only question is, will the controversies fade, or is more drama around the corner? Either way, Morgan Wallen seems committed to forging his own path, no matter the obstacles. Love him or loathe him, he's not going anywhere. And if history is any indication, the man who walked off the SNL stage without a backward glance is just getting started.